headquarters in Old Town, Oregon. Welcome to the Hot Rod 5 Boy Podcast.
All right. We're here for another podcast. We got my brother Greg.
Hi.
We got Axel.
How's it going?
And Mark Idzardi.
How you doing?
We're good. We're good, man. This is good. We've been trying to coordinate this for a minute. We're finally
for
here,
a minute,
man.
yeah.
We're in the half-ass new version of the podcast studio. We're moving into video, and we're almost there. As you can see, we got memorabilia up here, and
doing it.
Doing it.
First thing I noticed is the Van Hauler there. Kind of takes you back.
Yeah, kind of cool, right? So what we've been doing, I mean, I've had people over the last few years bring us like boxes of just pictures, and there's one of our old employees had just a crate of magazines. So we went through and he had all clippings and anything from the 90s that was boys. It mentioned my dad, you know, we just started putting these collages together.
Yeah.
Jolene that works for us, she's been doing this over the last few weeks, and we're almost there. We're not quite there, but we needed to get this done. So
sure,
absolutely,
it's good.
It's looking great.
Yeah,
it's looking great.
And people probably recognize your voice because you're the voice of Good Guys Car
I
Shows.
am the official DJ and announcer, and one of the hosts of the award ceremony for Good Guys.
Yeah. So we have our Gil Losi tribute Boyd Pros Pick collection here.
What year is that from? 05. Yeah.
This is 05. Yeah. So we were fortunate enough to grab all of Gil Losi's after he passed away, his Pros Pick trophies. So these are all the little cool little
nice
billet stuff over the year. That's one of my favorites right there. Mike Curtis had his hand in building a lot of
pretty
these,
much all
actually.
those. Yeah, most of them.
Yeah. So
pretty nice.
No, it's pretty cool. So
and you've been doing the Good Guys for a minute now.
Yeah, since 2011. And you know, I was listening to some of your previous podcasts, and you interviewed my boy John Drummond. He and I were thick as thieves,
dude.
and we still love each other, man. We talk once a week. And then you interviewed Harry Davies.
Oh yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean that was early on because we've been doing the podcast for a minute, and it's
because John Drummond goes way back,
dude, way back. Yeah, no, he's good. He was also the voice of Good Guys for how many years at the awards ceremony.
Yeah.
Good guy, and just a lot of memories, you know, going back. I mean, even back to when I was a teenager, you know.
Oh, he'll talk about stuff from, you know, the summer of '97. We had this and that going on, and that was a good podcast.
Yeah.
Good guy for a good time.
Good guy.
Good guys. Yeah, no, and so I think I just saw you recently at the Pleasanton Good Guy show. That was fun.
West Coast Nationals.
Yes, it's been a minute since I've been there, but it was good. I happened to be the only specialty wheel vendor there.
Good.
It worked out good for me.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, that's always a good show. It can always get pretty hot then, but it was really hot. It was like when we set up, it was like 103.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But good show. That's a great venue.
How was the swap meet there? Was there a swap meet?
It's always great.
Yeah, the swap meet's pretty good there.
Yeah.
I've had some good stuff there before.
Yeah, I mean, Good Guys. I mean, going back, geez, from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the pros pick. People always bring these trophies up. Hey, I got a pros pick at whatever show it was.
Yeah.
You know, so that's cool.
And they seem like from when I've been going with the shows with you, it seems like they do a lot of trophies for, you know, burnout contest, best of show. They usually treat people pretty good, actually.
Well, it runs the whole gamut, make everybody happy, right? So
Yeah.
on the average, we give out 75 awards at any given Good Guys event, and it goes from, you know, I'm a judge. They give me about 10 awards at every event, and which my specialty are factory correct muscle cars, and then of course, you know, suede and chrome awards and traditional custom, traditional hot rod, memory lane kind of awards like that. And then other guys specialize in, you know, pro mod kind of Camaros and stuff like that. So we give a little bit for everybody, you know. So
they actually been doing having somebody build like a 32 Roadster or a 32 Coupe, whatever, and giving that out too.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, every year we give out a car. Right now, for our next event, next season, we're giving away a 40 Ford that's going to have a blown Cadillac.
Jesus.
And I tease this guy, I go, man, we're getting too close to Shifters material here.
Yeah.
And it's all traditional, Steelies and Baby Moons and
Oh, wow.
Roseville Rod Custom. built that.
Speaking of shifters, let's talk about that because you guys are members of the Sifters Car Club.
Yep.
Which is go ahead. Let's good talk about the history there.
So, we've been around for a minute.
35 now? 35 years?
Yeah, 34 years.
34 years.
We were formed in 1992, but some of us go further back with our friendship to the mid 1980s. There's Jeff, my friend. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, good old Baden.
He and I have known each other since the Christmas time of 1985. And we, back in the 80s and early 90s, we had 55 Chevys. I had a 36 Ford pickup at the time. But our objective was to someday, A, start a car club, and B, have this hot rod car club with old-timey hot rods, and powered by, flathead or early Chevy, Pontiac, Oldsmobile engines and stuff. But admittedly, in the early days, Chris, we just didn't have the wherewithal or the knowledge. This is pre-internet. And for the exception of one or two older hot rodders that would give us the time of day, the only things we could rely on are the little pages, right, Marky?
Hot rod magazines and build models. And
That's really it.
That's pretty much how anybody, even youngers, the people that come up to how do you learn about the stuff, get old hot rod magazines or build models. You learn about parts and know how you want to build it.
Yeah. And then slowly around 90, 91, we started picking up hot rod projects. I had a Model A coupe body. He had his purple people eater body, which we built on top of a T-bucket frame with a Model A shortened bed. We all had these projects, and collectively we had all the tools to make a hot rod, but individually, he had a screwdriver. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. He had a screwdriver and I had a fucking hammer. Sinus had a torch settling tank. Anthony had a small welder, like a 110, and we were just, it was like musical chairs of tools borrowing just to build our stuff. But by 92, it was on, man.
Yeah.
Sinus, Kevin Sledge, aka Sinus, he was the first one to get a car on the road. And
with that, it just seems like as soon as you got that going, it just kind of pumped
it
up
was
everybody.
on.
Like he got it going, so then next person got it going.
You guys,
follow the line.
Because admittedly, it was, maybe it was just me, but I felt like, and we're never going to get these things on the road. Is this even possible? And then one time at the Doll Hut, which was our second home in the 90s in Anaheim, Kevin pulls up unexpectedly and we're like, oh my God, the game is on, man. And just thinking about it right now just gives me goosebumps. But him pulling up to the Doll Hut went, okay, it's on. At that time, Mark, Jeff, and I still lived in Riverside. The rest of the guys lived in Orange County. And then one by one, it just kind of snowballed and we started getting hot rods.
Yeah.
So by like the end of 92, early 93, we had 5 or 6 hot rods on the road. And they're all in primer, red steelies, a red motor, that, typical early kind of a thing. But they were all powered by different engines and stuff. And Marky and I come from a Pontiac background. So because of my involvement with muscle cars in the 80s, GTOs and stuff like that. Anthony got into Oldsmobile engines and Kevin was into Cadillac engines. And, we were these rockabilly guys that got into hot rods, not hot rod guys that got into rockabilly. So it was kind of a gradual or automatic progression where, we're these greaser guys. And if we're going to be into cars, it just was automatic. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it was kind of fitting that, hope I'm saying that right. That, these white wall slicks and steelies and chop down. And then it became a thing, remember?
Yeah.
Well, my car's chopped more than yours. My car's channeled more than yours. Where Anthony went, okay, I'm going 6 and 6. I remember.
Yeah.
Chop 6 and channel 6. And then he chopped his 8 inches.
And then he did a whole bubble top. And then
later on.
And Mark, you were pretty young when you got into this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you and Greg are the same age?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were probably still a little, you probably didn't even have a license when you started.
No, I started building my car when I was 12, started collecting parts. And then I finished it. We actually took it to Bakersfield when I was like 15. Didn't even have a driver's license.
No driver's license. No registration. The car wasn't registered. Yeah. No insurance. We just had
not only that,
56 plates with 62 tags, and just God, if we in retrospect,
I had old slicks with no rear suspension, going all the way to Bakersfield and just beating the hell out of it.
But we were so. That's the thing, man. The passion that I always talk about. We were so hungry for it, and we had no money. Admittedly, man, we just had these regular jobs, and we were building these cars at night in our garages and stuff, and we had no money. But somehow we just. And another thing is, and I need this part. Well, Kevin happened to have two of the same part, or Anthony needed something, and I had an extra rear end. I remember, and I gave him, and we gave each other stuff, and we just made it happen.
Yeah.
But it was like we didn't even have like a direction or somebody to follow when we were building these cars. And as we're building it, then we'll see like find like an old hot rod. It's been tucked away somewhere, and it had everything that we're building. So we're like, fuck, this is the way it is. We're on the right direction, you know. We pretty much had like old magazines. We're like,
because I mean, in the '90s, that's when the whole, like our dad was doing the smooth billet look and polished card, monochrome, all that stuff. So when you guys are doing more traditional stuff, it was kind of and like the whole you talk about the music tie-in with the rockabilly thing and the doll hut. I mean, in the '90s, mid to late '90s, that was like the whole rockabilly revival kind of thing going on.
Right. It really coincided.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, then they used to have the Hoot Nanny.
Yep, the Hoot Nanny.
Oh, yeah. The Hoot Nanny was a big deal.
Yep. And then we periodically, I've always been a show promoter / DJ, so I would do something at the Doll Hut. We got to know the owner before Anthony bought it, Linda. And she would always say, you guys are here anyway, so whatever you want to do, just go for it. Yeah. And one time we had a big fundraiser, and Brian Setzer came out and played, and it was bitching. But, something it's probably the right time to touch on it. You guys know about it, but some of the listeners don't. We just finished filming and doing a documentary about the Shifters, and it's on, we're proud to say it's on Amazon Prime, for those of you that haven't seen it. And
I bought it.
Chip Foose, cool. Chip Foose talks about, at this time frame that we're talking about in the early 90s, late 80s, which I didn't know, Chip worked for your father.
Yeah.
And he had mentioned something that, there was a moment where Boyd might have taken it as a threat that there was this movement that was slowly sparking up with the youngsters, us youngsters, building hot rods and all this traditional stuff. But like he goes, there was only a small percentage of people that, and it was definitely not us, that could afford to have a show quality street rod built by Boyd, right?
Yeah.
So, but in subsequent years, we got to know your dad. And I think it's very important for the people listening to think we were anti-street rod or anti-billet, or the modern street rod industry was anti-rat rod, what we were doing at that time. But in fact, even though it started on different avenues, I think it kind of came back around where Chris, our two brothers are best friends.
Yeah.
Marky, not only that, Marky and Anthony in later years built a hot rod for Greg.
Yeah.
And it's very important to mention. I thought about this the other day when I was getting nostalgic as I was laying down in bed. Your father, we used to put on a car show in Las Vegas, and your father drove all the way out one year to support and attend the event, but he came up to me and he handed me an envelope. And I said, "What's this?" And he just winked. And he said, "Open it up." And I opened it up. And I go, "What is this about?" He goes, "It's one of those things, man. You can't beat them, join them." And he said, "This is a free set of wide white walls for the best of show. Whatever car you guys pick, I'm buying them a set of white walls."
Nice.
And I just, we could never afford anything like that. And I thought, man, see, that's the kind of stories that nobody knows.
Yeah.
You know? And it was mentioned. Do you remember that, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. But let's go back even farther to the anti-blessing.
Yes.
The first one you did there at Hart Park.
Yep.
And so I told my dad about it. I go, okay, hey, we're going to go over to this show. He's like, okay. So he comes to my scooter shop. We come over there. We go to the show. And remember, you had a raffle little booth.
Yes.
For like raffle. And he goes, hey, let's buy some raffle tickets. I go, okay.
We also had a fart contest that day. That's another story.
Absolutely. And so but at the time, I'm trying to be like, okay, I want to be cool because I don't want to be, a square in front of these dudes. But like my dad's like, well, let's get some raffle tickets. I go, okay. And I think you were working the booth there. And he goes,
probably.
And he goes, hey, give me some raffle tickets. And he gave me $200. And I go, oh, come on, Dad. Don't get that many raffle tickets. It's crazy.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and you peeled off $200 worth of tickets, and then later that day there was the raffle, and like I won the first thing, and then like I kept winning because we had so many tickets. Like,
yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I don't know where that guy is. Because I don't want to be like the dude that won all the prizes and shit.
Now it's all coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like the one thing I ended up taking was Hooker Jose's picture that he drew.
Right.
Of that.
A custom.
Yeah. Which
wow.
Which
that's all coming back.
Which I lost
now.
in the fire, but yeah, that was. But before that, when I met Kevin, he invited me to the party at your house. That was in 96, 97? What year was that? When you had that big party at your house and everybody was there. You name it. There was.
I had so many parties at that
Sensor was there.
Yep. And Joe Strummer from the Clash.
Joe Strummer, yeah. I remember I went there by myself.
I tell people that and they go, yeah, right.
No,
sure thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like going back to the doll hut, like iconic, like it's probably no bigger than these two rooms.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, how many people would just, show up at that place and play? Like, it was just a lot of stuff happened there.
Yeah.
I met my ex-wife there. Right. I mean, like,
oh yeah.
In such a short time, what started off as not I hope this in no way, shape, or form sounds arrogant, because we're not arrogant and it's not our jam, but we thought we're going to be this exclusive little clique and it'll always be just this little thing that we never in a million years thought it would take off to this movement. I remember distinctly walking down the aisle at Toys R Us one day. It was Christmas time. And I turned around and their Revell Toy Company made these 1/64 scale cars called Ratrods. And the packaging was me driving to Paso. So they took my photograph that one of the guys took of me driving by. And it was my toy, my 29 Roadster on Deuce Rails called El Mirage or Bust. What? They changed a couple little things, for probably legality issues. But I'm like, what's going on here? And I remember going right here, somewhere in the Orange Circle, there was Radio Shack.
Oh,
I think.
There used to be.
And I walked in there and there was a black primered 36 Ford Coupe remote control car. And on the trunk, I wish I would have bought the damn thing, because on the trunk it said shifter on there. And it was remote control. I went, there's something going on. And then not long after that time frame, I remember the actor and film producer John Favreau called me and he says, I want a car. I want a shifters type of car. Oh man, what the hell's going on? So you don't think people are watching. I guess that's my point.
Yeah.
But people are watching.
People are watching, yeah.
But it did turn into a whole movement. I remember going I went, was it 2000?
We went to
2000 when we went to Viva Las Vegas.
I think 2000.
That's back when there was only maybe a couple hundred cars there.
Right.
And it was at the
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast.
The top parking lot still? That's when it was the best.
Top parking lot. And it was just nonstop music all weekend.
Yeah.
And 2 a.m, you'd have bands playing, right? And
right.
In the bar, just.
It's kind of funny though, going back to like when we were building our cars, we didn't have no money, and it was just about maybe a different color primer, but it was always like black primer or satin or something like that. And then it's just kind of weird now that you see like some new cars that are kind of like in the same, not painted, but like
the
satin finish or something. I mean?
And stuff, yeah.
And it's
you can go to a Mercedes dealership and order a flat silver or flat black brand new Mercedes, and I can't help but to think, if you start tracing this all the way back to the primer days, is there a correlation there? I don't know, but Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I remember the first time, like when you guys had the garage over there in Fullerton.
That was the clubhouse.
Against the railroad tracks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys had a party.
Oh my God.
And I remember,
A few
Marky,
of them.
you had your purple people leader, and it was so funny because everyone's like, hey, just everybody gather around.
Does
And
it run? Does it run?
You pulled it in and you jumped out the top. I remember
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He jumped out of the top of the thing, and I'm like, what in the hell is this thing?
Well, it was one of those things where, whoa, he fired it up. It's loud. It's just got this built to the hilt motor, and then boom, and shut off. Oh. And then he pops out like Jack in the Box. It was like that.
Yeah, it was.
Then that was like, people just
He
went
popped
nuts.
out of the top. That was rad, dude.
Oh, that was the party when it got striped.
Yes, that's right.
The
Yep.
lettering on the back from
Makoto, right?
Makoto.
Yes.
That guy's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that he did the dash in my what you call it, my Buick. The
That's
Buick
right.
I got from Kevin. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasn't there, by the way, I was thinking about this on the way. Wasn't there a correlation, or am I missing something, with your dad and you and that 60 Buick that Kevin bought?
As far as, I mean,
Or did your dad own it? And then
no,
you got it or something?
I bought it. I
Okay.
bought it off Kevin, and then I had my buddy Dennis Rickliff's. He striped it because it was already scalloped, but then my buddy Dennis striped it all. And
Okay,
silver
I
and
got
purple
that mixed up.
What's that?
It's silver and purple?
Yeah, it was
Invicta?
like maroon and silver. Yeah, yeah.
That thing was rad.
That car's still around. It's actually in Chicago now.
And you can see a snippet of that car.
Oh, in the Dogtown movie.
Yep.
From Craig Stesick, the photographer.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, he took a photo of that at the anti-blessing,
Okay.
and then that's where he got the photo
So the
from.
anti-blessing was because they had the blessing of the cars up in
Well, it was-
Pasadena, right?
Okay, so
the original name.
yeah, so it was the blessing, and we all showed up fashionably late, and we all have I'll just full disclosure here, we all had probably a 12 pack of beer each in each one of our cars. So by the time we left, Sinus decides to do a little donut in the grass, and he knocked over one of the sprinklers, and the next morning my phone's blowing up by the promoters of the blessing of the cars. You guys owe me $2,500, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what, I just woke up, what are you talking about? You messed up the grass. I go, well, the grass is going to grow back. And a sprinkler? Okay, we'll pay for the sprinkler. Send me a bill. And
Yeah.
never did. Fast forward a few months, we're doing Paso Robles. Anthony and Marky decided to do, it was their idea initially, let's do an after hours party, because there was too many younger people started a whole influx of people coming to Paso and didn't have anything to do. By 8 o'clock, they're rolling up the sidewalks, And so, what was the first one? A bowling alley, right, Mark?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rented a bowling alley, and I DJ'd. We brought some bands. Well, anyway, before that show, the promoters of the Blessing said, don't bother going to the Shifters deal. It's been canceled, the after hours thing.
Really?
Yeah. And it pissed everybody off. Said, okay, all right, it's on now.
Yep.
So let's do the anti-blessing. And the first year, I remember Robert Williams, we had like 400 cars that first year. And Robert Williams and his wife, Suzanne, pull up and went, oh, shit, this is where everybody is. And I remember Sinus going, what? I just went to the blessing and I counted 55 cars. They all went to our shows. And by the second year, they're crying, please don't do the thing anymore. And we
That's
just
so
kind of
funny.
stopped. But
And then when did you guys get involved then with because you guys ran the car show part of Viva Las Vegas?
so we were, the co-promoter was in charge of everything inside, and the Shifters were responsible for everything outside. Entertainment, DJing, vendors. I handled all the vendors and stuff. And that started from the first year, which was 1998.
Okay.
And then in 05 or 06, the co-promoter said, we're outgrowing this thing and let's move it to the Orleans. It's run by the same owners, Boyd Gaming. And we lost that top parking lot, and I'll just call it like I see it, man. It went totally corporate, and it just lost that love and feeling, man.
Is it
It's
still
just,
going on now? I don't pay attention.
yeah, but it's just it's diluted.
It's not the
Really?
same. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the same. It was just, I don't know. I come from a place, or we come from a place of quality, not quantity. And you got 2,500 people there. Leave it at that, man. Don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You selling out the hotel, the top parking lot. It's magic. And then came, now there's burlesque shows and pinup shows, everything but the subject at hand, the
Yeah.
rockabilly music and the, the famous tattoo artist, which was my next door neighbor right here in Orange, Santa Ana, Eric Mosky, said it so perfect. Everything cool gets ruined.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it just kind of it starts being cool, right? People want to jump on the bandwagon there.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know. It was interesting because I remember when he started hanging out with you. Because I mean, let's talk about the word Ratrod, right? Where did that come from? Because was that like a derogatory? Did you guys
Well,
thought
that's
it was a
kinda-
derogatory
Anthony.
term?
Yeah,
No,
that kind of
not originally.
that kind of goes back to when we were first building our cars, no money,
Yeah.
black primer and stuff like that. And
Magazines started buzzing around us like the flies and bees around honey. Sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you.
that's okay.
And somebody asked Anthony, right?
Yeah, because we were doing a photo shoot at Paso, and after the photo shoot, the guy was like, "What do you guys call these cars?" And Anthony was just thinking of like a biker mentality and just rat bike, whatever. He just came up with the word of the Ratrod.
That's really where it
That's
started.
where it came from.
He
Okay.
said,
Okay.
you got these primered bikes and they're rough around the edges. They're called rat bikes. Well, I guess you can call us rat rods.
Okay.
We were building, by today's standards, we were building traditional hot rods. We just couldn't afford paint or upholstery. Everything else was dialed in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you really want to get technical.
But I mean, that's the difference between what people build in Ratrods now is we were building stuff like traditional, and we were never stopping building it. When we first bust out with a car, it was maybe kind of rowdy, but we always worked
Evolving,
on it,
yeah.
evolving
Yeah,
it to get body work done and get it painted eventually, maybe upholstered. But that just kind of separated what rat rodding is now.
Well, it turned into the guy who built the car right out of his garage and then like shot it with a shotgun, and put dents in it, and made it all rusty.
It really-
all
dude,
of a sudden it's all that's a rat rod.
It really sucks. None of the guys like using it anymore. And I get why, but somehow the word rat rod or the meaning of the look went from 1992 days, what we were doing, to by 2000, some guy would have a 46 Chevy truck cab with metal wrought iron fence spikes welded to the top of the roof
and big
and a
stack
mural of a
of
rat
exhaust
and all
coming
this
out of it.
bullshit, man.
Yeah. No,
and then like a
it-
low compression 305 Chevy motor with a 2-barrel and zoomy headers. And
Yeah.
this is completely polar opposite from what we were doing.
Yeah,
Or-
exactly.
It's-
They're trying to make a theme.
And now
of it
today,
instead of like,
I've heard a guy with a 70 Camaro and primer say, yeah, bitchin' rat rod. So it just,
It's the same thing with like my dad's cars, and my dad was doing his style, and then people started building their cars, kind of like their own style, like that style, but their own version of it. And people are like, "Oh, those are like Boyd kind of cars." It's like, no, not really.
right.
They just because they have billets and stuff on. Doesn't
Everybody
make it,
wants to identify, have
Yeah.
something to, name it, and they're just not getting it right. But,
Like I say, all good things get ruined, right?
Right.
well, and you know what too? Like, so I know that like a lot of car clubs, let's just bring it up. The LA Roadsters, right? For years had their little thing. If it wasn't finished painted, you couldn't bring it in the show,
right.
right? So did you guys ever try to push back on that event, or because
Okay,
that was
so-
a big show?
In those early years, I'm glad you brought this up, Chris. In early years, there were events that would stop us at the gate and say, where are you guys going? Where are you parking? Well, we've paid for the event. We're pre-registered. One was, you guys remember the Great Labor Day Cruise at Orange County
Oh
Fairgrounds?
yeah, for sure.
I distinctly remember the early years of the California Hot Rod Reunion, which was just last weekend, when the guy said, you guys can't park up here. You got to park in the back. And yeah, sure thing. Well, you tell that to guys like Sinus, and they're going to just, he's like, don't touch the cookie in the cookie jar. He's going to touch the cookie in the cookie jar. And we made it back around, and the ironic thing is when the guy would say, man, I told you guys not to park up here. You got to park in the back. Okay, so we started parking at the end of the drag strip, and that became a thing. The irony of all this is once we started coming out in, back then the channel was called Speed Channel, I think.
Vision.
Or Speed Vision, that's it. And then we started getting notoriety in magazines. Those same kind of promoters, management of these events would call me and say, hey, are you guys coming? Well, we're kind of broke right now, but we'll see. Well, I tell you what, we'll save you a spot, and let me comp you a set of tickets. And I thought, the irony, just a year or two ago, we were the redheaded stepchild, and now...
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, So yes, to answer your question, that did happen. But once they warmed up to us, then it was okay. you know. And I remember the last place that happened to was Paso Robles, the West Coast Customs, and Rit Pichette, the original owner, he passed away, but I've known him since the early 80s. He would tell fellow reps, West Coast Customs reps, hey guys, look at these guys. Yeah, they're drinking beer. They're cussing a little bit. Their cars are rough around the edges. But is it any different from what we were doing when we were that age? And they'd go, yeah, but... and they knew he was right. It was true, you know. These guys building hot rods back in the 50s. Sorry to cut you off. These guys building hot rods in the 50s, they were all 18, 19 high school kids. Our cars look just like theirs, you know, high school parking lot cars, right? So,
but you know what? It's kind of that entry point too, because like you said, people can't all afford high dollar cars.
You got to start somewhere, man.
You got to start somewhere, and I'm seeing that, you know, because the wheel business, I'm seeing it like especially with Dino's Gitdown coming up. That thing's evolved into the whole truck scene has got that whole movement in it too.
Yes,
you got your $1 million trucks, $500,000 trucks, but then you get the kid that's just got, you know, $5,000 and he's saved up and he's picked up whatever truck and he's just, you know, I mean,
well, I'm glad you unintentionally reminded me of something. What's so hot, whether we're in Dover, Delaware at a Good Guys event, or Des Moines, Iowa, or Southern California, a 67, 68 C10 Chevy pickup, they'll tell me, hey, we're looking for one, but don't primer, don't paint it. If it's got original paint, that's how we want it all patinaed.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of vibe, and that's really hot too, you know?
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
The evolution of everything, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, and you know, people also want to be part of a counterculture, right, going on, right? So when you get all these, you know, I call them checkbook Charlie kind of guys that just can write checks and build whatever they want, right? But the majority of the fans can't afford that stuff.
Yeah.
So what's the entry point for those people? Whether it's the truck market, the traditional hot rod market, right?
Right.
I mean, it's cool, right? Because it's kind of like a pushback on the high dollar stuff, which is what you guys were doing. You know, you guys can only, like you said, you can only afford so much when you're in your teens, early 20s, right?
Yep.
And you're building what you thought was cool.
That's right.
And also, it's like you talk about traditional, like, so with Vaden, he worked for us for years.
There's another connection right there.
Yeah, but like with Vaden, like I remember Jeff and I would go to lunch every day. We go to Chris and Pitts. We would go to El Farolito or Chris and Pitts.
I bet he ate the out of Chris and Pitts.
Hey, like, it's just like, hey, you know, and we would just get stuffed at lunch. That was our main meal. He would just talk about World War II stuff, and it was just like he was all enthralled with just like history of just a World War II era stuff. And I'd listen to him for, you know, he talked the whole time, and you know, and it was kind of cool.
So I'm glad you, again, unintentionally brought something up, because for the shifters, for the listeners out there, it goes deeper than what people are just seeing at a car show. Oh, these guys got cuff jeans and slick back hair and an old car. I've been helping Mark build a room addition at his house, and half of what he's been collecting for 30 years and half of what he inherited from our father, he now has 5,000 vintage vinyl rock and roll records from the 50s and 60s. And we did this room edition. Just looks like you walked into some diner back in the 40s or 50s, right? So we collect old furniture and the records, and it's just so much more deeper than the cars. And
it really is. It's
we live this stuff, man.
And you know,
right?
We're all at the age where we had grandparents that were in World War II,
yep.
right? And so there's a lot of history there. And it's just not about just the cars. It's about the era. It's about, you know, American history, you know, evolution of when these guys came back from the war.
Yeah.
You know,
we fantasize about it. I'll admit it. But what we've been researching all these years and listening to all the stories from millions and millions of people, that was the you know, post World War II into the mid 60s. That was just such an amazing time in the 20th century, I think.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was just a lot cooler shit back then than now.
Right.
You know.
Well, because it's like, you know, the history of just the, you know, traditional hot rod stuff. The guys coming back from the war, right? And
want to have fun, you know.
Want to have fun, and they're all wound up, you know, shooting guns. And,
but you're supposed to just get back to civilization and just calm down, and not everybody could do that. I think that's why guys like that whole Marlon Brando in the Wild One, you had that element too. Guys just getting on bomber jackets and riding motorcycles. I think the hot rod was that's just the same, just 2 more wheels.
Well, and I've told this story many times. I remember when my dad was quitting his job at Disneyland and wanting to start a legit hot rod business. When he would go to these banks and try to get a business loan, they go, "What do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to build hot rods." They
probably looked at him like he had 2 heads.
No, they thought he was like some kind of outlaw biker.
Guys, what year, if you had to shoot in the dark, would that have been?
Late 70s.
Yeah.
Mid to late 70s.
Man.
Actually,
77, 78.
Greg showed me a picture of your dad actually building a sedan and then actually did photo shoot at Disneyland when they're not supposed to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he did the first and only ever shoot right there, right in front of the castle.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was on Street
We have a
Street
picture. I don't have a
Rodder.
picture
Street
here.
Rodder. He was
But
covered
actually,
Street Rodder.
The picture behind you, we talked about it earlier. That's
Knott's Berry Farm?
Knott's Berry Farm, right?
Yeah,
With,
that was right
Jamie
after- that was right after
Musselman's,
that one.
Roadster there.
Yeah.
So he probably crossed paths at that time. On a side note, because Ed Roth used to work at Knott's as a lettering guy, sign guy.
Oh yeah, no, we
Yeah,
have Greg.
he did it at Disneyland also.
He came and did all the lettering at the
shop
at the Monroe shop. He did all the lettering on all the doors.
Yeah, he slept in his mini Toyota truck out in the parking lot for like a week.
That's awesome.
Well,
What's that?
Didn't Disneyland give your dad hell because they found out that they did a photo
Well,
shoot?
yeah, because they did the photo shoot there. They're like, oh yeah, it was for some small magazine, Street Rodder magazine. So they're like, oh, it's no big deal. But then they saw like all the newsstands or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, we can't let anybody do that again.
First and only time of
So your dad, this is good. See, now we're getting somewhere else.
Yeah.
Your dad had a rebellious side about him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he worked there graveyard for how many years did he work there?
Probably 4,
5 years, something like that. So he was, they did that photo shoot like right at the crack of dawn. Just like
where the
I'm sure he talked to all the proper players. Hey, I'm going to be bringing this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, come on.
where they have like on the lawn right there with like the roses and stuff like that of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Like the sedan was parked right there in front of.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool photos in that book.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what year was that one? Do you remember?
76, 77.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Somewhere
76
in there.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Mickey Mouse.
Good old Mickey Mouse.
Good old
now
Mickey.
it's all talking corporate.
Yeah. It's all
So
good.
not for me to ask a question, but if you don't mind,
No.
how did, and this is a question for Marky and Greg, how did the whole, because we were there but we weren't there, how did the whole thing come about where you and Marky and Anthony built that flathead powered single seater T, which by the way came out bitching? How did that all come about?
Well, me and Anthony had a shop, Anaheim, and we were building cars. A lot of cars for Japan, a lot of customs and stuff like that. And then I don't remember, but somehow along the line you wanted I think you got a body or something like that.
No, Anthony found that body. It was like a dune buggy that came off like.
Or the 27 that was like narrowed and stuff.
It was narrowed. Yeah, it came off that was like almost like a little off-road car or whatever they found in Long Beach. And then he found that nose.
That's right. Yeah, that aluminum nose, track nose.
Little track nose and everything. And I remember sitting over there, oh, that thing's cool. And they had that. Well, he had pieces of a 32 frame.
Yeah.
There was like a couple pieces laying there on the ground. And he's like, I'm like, huh, what do you do with that thing? He's like, oh, I'm going to build it. Okay. So I got my dad. I drove down there. I said, hey, you got to check this car out. He's looking. He's like, okay. So yeah, I see it. The all single seat right in the middle. We do center steering, all this whole 9 yards. And Anthony, it was, I think I want to say it was it right before we went to Japan? No, and I'm trying to think what year it was they finished that thing. What year? Do you remember what year that was? Was that 99 or 2000?
Somewhere on there.
Got to be around that era.
Yeah, because I remember. Oh yeah, I think it was 99. But Anthony needed money for something, and I forgot what it was. But he goes, "I'll build the whole car." I think it was $4,200. And I go, "Okay, cool, let's do it." And so next thing, I think you guys put it together in like maybe 2 months or something like that.
Something about right, yeah.
It was really, really quick. It just boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, it was like, a driving car.
Yeah, we ended up doing that 32 frame narrowed with the body so it all matched with the turtle deck.
Model spring perch in the back, yeah. And that car, I'm actually trying to get that car back right now.
Where is it?
It's in Lincoln, Nebraska, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had the banjo rear end with the V860 chromed axle.
Chromed axle, yeah.
Center steer, like you said, and it had a flathead in it.
Chrome 44 rear end. It was chrome.
And I don't think I ever told you this, but one night when the thing was at the shop, I hopped in it and I went around the block in it, and I went around the block and then I came back and along the shop and pulled it in the back. I got out. I looked down on the floor, like, oh shit! I hit a bump and the drain plug fell off. And there's an oil streak all the way from the inside of the shop, around the back, all the way to the front. Everywhere I drove and came back.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome for that.
Was that the motor that blew up? Or
Yes, actually, probably because of it.
So we put the first motor was just a original flathead. Didn't know anything about it.
Right.
You know, it was in there, and it lasted maybe a couple months.
So what did Dad say about the car when it was done?
Oh, he dug it. He thought it was cool. Yeah, I remember we got it done. I pulled it over to the shop over there. I drove the shit out of that car.
You actually did a little photo shoot because your dad built that 29 aluminum truck.
The aluminum truck, yeah.
And that thing was all bare metal too.
That's right.
It was like a
Rodder's
Coddington
Journal.
comparison deal. Rodder's Journal,
That's
yeah.
right. Rodder's Journal.
Yeah, Kuhn
That's
did
cool.
I think we
the
got
photos.
the picture on the wall over there.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it was a pretty cool article. Man, it looked really good.
Yeah, I think my dad was a little torn on the deal too, to be honest with you. He was kind of like, man, he goes, I know Greg's into this stuff. He's like, but I've been spending my whole life trying to make these cars super nice. And what is he doing, you know? But I think after, you know.
But you always, from caveman days, a son is always going to rebel from what the father does, right?
Exactly.
But we have some cool pictures, though, of some of our dad's early hot rod stuff.
Oh, yeah, like his first hot rod, was like a Dodge truck. You know, I think it was a 29 or 30 Dodge pickup truck. It was just a cab sitting on just a frame. Everything.
Sure.
Pretty neat car.
And then I think you showed me a picture of your dad had an El Camino 59 or 60 and then had like a Model A or 32 body sitting in the back of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a six. Yeah, six.
There's a picture of a Roadster he had in the front yard.
Yeah,
there in Idaho. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a funny story. Goes back to when we first started building cars, and actually right when we started becoming a club, Kevin actually had his T-bucket, and he just got it finished. Him and Anthony were driving around one night, and I forgot where exactly was that.
Because they had their shop that was over there off of Dale.
Okay.
Yes,
and my dad's shop was like right across the street.
Yeah, so I think your dad was like...
He was at the liquor store.
Yeah, coming out of the liquor store, and then Kevin...
Do you know this story?
No.
So Kevin was coming out...
and Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony.
In the T.
And it was late at night, and flathead, a Cadillac in it, uncorked and stuff. And they're sitting at the light, and you're
White wall slicks.
I guess the look on your
leather jackets, pompadours, the whole thing.
The look on your dad's face, you just saw it, and he was just
Anthony
staring.
Goes, hey, sorry to cut you.
And
he goes, hey man, what? And there's the longest red light. He goes, don't look now, man, but Boyd is who? Boyd? No shit. Yeah, he's just sitting there like he's looking at us like we got. It's a deer in the headlights, like we got two heads each,
Yeah, it's just the look on his face is like he's registering everything.
Ghost?
That's funny.
Yeah, then he took off and.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their shop was remember off of Dale there was like the little alcove. There's little shops across the street there before Catella.
Okay.
Because I don't know how long did they have that shop for? Do you know?
About a year.
About a year or so.
Yeah.
Good old Stanton.
Yeah.
Stanton was the epicenter of hot rodding for a minute there. Fat Jack was there.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of good work.
We were there.
I mean, yeah. At one point, Dad had that freaking whole block. It was pretty much. I don't know how many thousands of square feet there were there, but it was craziness.
Wow.
We even had a show 2 years in a row. We blocked off Cerritos Avenue from Dale to Beach, and it was all hot rods.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Actually, going back to what you were saying about your dad being, into cool stuff, and didn't you tell me that story that your dad actually built a gasser?
Oh yeah, he had a 55 or 57? I think it was 50. I think it was a 55. It was a full gasser that he got with straight axle, the whole 9 yards, and he took it up the block out in front of our house on Orange Avenue, and he went up and he tried to make a U-turn. He couldn't make a U-turn with it, and he came back and he goes, "Yeah, that's cool. Can't really drive it."
It's going up for sale.
yeah,
right.
Pretty much sold it right away, but he had all kinds of neat cars. He had cool blown T-buckets and all kinds of crazy shit.
Nice.
These guys would always trade him stuff and back and forth.
So it was nice that although it was the two separate worlds in the hot rod industry, and they kind of, in some way or fashion, Vauden working for your dad.
And then Jimmy White coming to work for my dad.
There you go, Jimmy White.
Yeah.
And actually, your dad actually brought a 36 coupe.
Oh yeah.
To work on.
Yep. Yeah, over to Anthony's.
Yep.
Yeah, then I remember you guys did he's like, how do you we're trying to figure out how to get my Econoline lowered. He goes, go take it to Anthony over there. He could probably figure it out. So I didn't get the drop axle. They put the drop axle on the old Econoline and stuff, and Then I remember Anthony coming over to the shop, going through. That was when my dad was building those cars to drive cross country, and He goes, "Hey Anthony, why don't you drive that shitbox you got across country?" He's like, "Maybe I will. Maybe I will." But yeah,
And
whatever happened.
On that note, I wonder if we should. Not everything is peachy keen and a fairy tale. I wonder if we should touch on Anthony.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, whatever happened to the brown neck bandit?
It's in my garage.
Oh, okay.
And we've been slowly working on it. I've got, I'm shuffling 3 or 4 different things in my life, and Mark got in his car accident last February, so we've been spending more time as brothers these days than ever. But when I get a chance, we work on it.
That was a cool car,
and we're gonna get it going.
The one on actually kind of just. Because Anthony didn't really finish it, but I mean, it had all the bones and the structure of everything,
Right.
But we actually want to finish it and maybe,
make it nicer than it actually was.
Yeah. But there's some couple people that actually donated and want to paint it, and tires and stuff that donated. So everybody's on the board of trying to see it, want to see it get it going again.
If you guys know Will Smith,
oh yeah.
The son, Chris, he branched off to his own business. He moved to Arizona. Had a long talk with him, and that guy, man, I got this thing in the mail, and I'm like, what the heck is this? And he had built a full set of Raider mags and had them polished in the bolt patterns, and donated that for the car. Very so that was really kind of him to do that. Because that's what Anthony originally had. On the car.
Yeah, Raiders on it. Yeah. It's still gonna be green.
Yes.
With the
bubble. Yeah, with the bubble top.
And then Chris Johnson and the Emperor's Car Club said, if we pay for the material, he'll upholster the car.
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
So some people are stuck.
That'd be rad to see that thing back out.
Yeah.
All the silver flake interior or whatever.
Because it was when he built that, I was building the Purple People Eater
side by side, and he didn't seem like he actually kind of really finished it. But then my car actually just took off in magazines and blew up and everywhere, and then he never really just finished it, and so I got to take my car for Japan, and so he took it to Japan once, but I took my car second time, so I'll take it again actually for a second time for his car.
Yeah, the Japan trip was crazy, taking his car over there, because I went to Japan with my dad in 96, 95, somewhere in there. My dad was one of the first people that Shige brought over there for outside or whatever, and he was signing autographs. It was nuts. He was there. There was a line of all the way out that freaking hall out there. It was crazy. And I remember the next time I went was with Anthony, and it was bonkers over there. I'm sure that show is still probably huge.
Yeah. It's like coming up like soon. Like, it's in November.
Yeah, November.
Right?
I think.
It seems like it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
Billy's going this year.
Oh, is he?
Even though he's from Japan originally, but.
So for those listeners that don't know who we're talking about, it's one of the original founding members of the Shifters, Anthony, and he was a great guy. And he was a great guy. And him and Marky were really close. And in 2013, he was coming home from a nightclub and in a customer's car and lost control and hit a parked car, and he was killed.
Yeah.
And it's safe to say that the Shifters didn't really know what direction to go into after that happened. It was such a shock, including my brother. And there was many years where we were just stagnant.
Lost,
But we got ourselves back together, regrouped, took a deep breath. When they filmed the documentary, we and the film crew drove all the way to his widow lives in outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, and we picked up the car initially to just fix it up and give back to them, and then we got thinking about it after we did our Shifters 30th anniversary at State Line, and said, "Hey, we raised a few bucks. Would you be interested in selling the car to the club? And we'll keep it in the club." She said, "Absolutely," because the car was sitting outside and it just it needed to be back with us and stuff. And it's so, I think so many things happen for a reason. And,
well, his little side note, Marcella, his widow, she worked for my dad.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
I didn't know that.
She's a sweetheart.
I introduced him.
And a very pretty.
I hooked those two up.
No, so check it out. So
what?
So my dad, for years, going back into the 90s, my dad worked with a company called California Elwyn. They're out like out of Fountain Valley. and they would take like special needs kids, Down syndrome kids, and they would train them to do small jobs. And my dad always had a fondness for Down syndrome kids and people with special needs. And back at Boyd's, when we had 400 employees, we probably had at least eight
special needs workers.
Yeah, at any given point, and they were always. They're always like the highlight of like any banquet, because there was one guy named Fred, and he would do these Elvis impressions. So my dad would always make sure, and you know, they would do a raffle, right? They would do like raffles and give employees stuff and random stuff. He'd always make sure that those kids got something, and he'd always bring Fred up there and have Fred do his little Elvis impressions.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny. So yeah, so Marcella was they would have, when we have a few of those. Few of them there, they would have a job coach, right? They were called job coaches.
Coach, yeah.
So, you know, there was different job coaches through the years. And then, Marcella was a job coach for a while at the shop. And they come in a few days a week and just watch them work and just kind of make sure they were just kind of doing their thing.
Did you know this, Marky?
I didn't
Really
know that.
Yeah. Because she started,
Grant had a party at his house when he was at Fullerton with Harpoon, a Halloween party. And I invited her over there. So she shows up, and I invited Anthony. Anthony's there. And I go,
and Anthony was a ham.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, who's that guy? I go, oh, that's my buddy Anthony. And he's all, hey, who's that girl? I go, okay, here. There you go. And the rest is, history.
I remember he first brought him out. No disrespect to, I mean, this was all, I thought, what a knockout, and he was seemed instantly head over heels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple times they were on the outside. I didn't do it, but not me. But yeah.
But the girls know they can come see the car anytime, and actually maybe sometime when the car's done, we'll take it to.
Yeah, Anthony's got two little. Well, they're probably not little anymore, but two girls.
Oh yeah, they're what, 16 and 18 now or something like that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So we do a lot of stuff, and to keep him alive, so to speak. When I manage and organize the Swade Palace building at the Grand National Roadshow Show every year, which this next one marks the 20th anniversary, and I'm trying to go off with a bang with that. But I always start off the award ceremony in his memory. Just got a little bit here and there. And Kevin runs the Shifters Instagram page, and periodically he'll post a picture of him and stuff. Just it keeps people alive. I'm sure you guys do things like that with your father.
Yeah. Well, and on a side note, probably from 2004 to like 2012, I got heavily involved in like home brewing beer, and I was part of this homebrew club, and we grew up to 100 members. And I took on the task because we started doing these homebrew festivals, but we needed, like, everyone had this cool, at these homebrew festivals, everyone had like these cool bar setups and these mobile units and all this stuff. So I took on the task of project managing this thing. We ended up calling it the Beast. And it was like this rolling cabinet you could put kegs in. It had a cold plate chiller in it. And so I commissioned Anthony to build this thing. And he finished it, probably 6 months before he passed away. Yeah. And we actually had it at the memorial party at the garage. Yeah. It was that. It was, dude, this thing was, they called it the Beast for a reason. This thing was huge. It had 6 taps on it. And it was like.
Where is it today?
That's a good question. Because
where'd it go?
Because it was, so the whole thing was, it was supposed to be this like temporary thing until we got this other little cooler thing. But I jumped out of the club at that point, and it's somewhere around. Okay. But we put a little memorial plaque on it because I remember, the day that Anthony passed away, we had like a back then it wasn't Facebook, but it was like
MySpace or something.
We had a forum.
Yeah. Okay.
Forum, right? And I remember putting it out there saying, told everybody the bad news, and everybody kind of chipped in when we had the memorial party. Everyone donated beer, and we actually, on the Beast, there's a memorial plaque that tribute to Anthony on that thing. Man, it was cool. It was like this rolling. It was big, man. It was just like, it was kind of cool. It was a cool little project. But wow. So it wasn't just cars he did, he left his memory on the Beast.
Well, and it's also one of those things too where you're doing cars day in and out, and you're doing the same exact kind of car day in and out. I could see it. He never said anything, but I could see it in Anthony's eyes. Dude, you get fucking burnt, man.
Oh, dude, we were
so French, but so something like that. Sorry, Mark. Something like that. He's like, yeah, shit, yeah, something different. Yeah,
Yeah, totally, because we were doing shoebox after another shoebox after another shoebox, or early Chevy.
I
And
remember
after
you
a
guys
while,
built a tiki-themed sedan in 29 days and shipped it to like
Aruba.
Bermuda,
Oh,
Aruba.
Yeah,
Aruba.
that one guy, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to find pictures of the beast.
Yeah, he also built. Remember, he built the fence at your house. Remember the?
Oh
original
yeah, my house.
in La
Did you
Mirada?
help him?
Yeah,
They went and built the whole gate, the front gate at my old house.
I remember that.
yeah. He's like, I can do that shit.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to do anything. I'll tell you that, man. He would take on anything. He didn't
Even
care.
things that Kevin talks about this, but it got edited out in our documentary film when because Kevin Sinus and Anthony go back since the 5th grade, man. I mean, that doesn't get any deeper than that. And he said we were hanging out in this like flood
Ravine, ditch, whatever.
flood control thing in Orange here somewhere where everyone would skateboard. And he goes, Anthony showed up with this like 2-foot long homemade skateboard, and all these guys are going, that won't work. You can't do that. That's one thing you can't tell Marky, and that's one thing you can't tell Anthony is you can't do that or that won't work.
Yeah.
Because even if it technically doesn't, they're gonna figure out a way. Now that you said that, prove your ass wrong.
Yeah.
And so I guess Anthony was on this top of this cliff, this ridge or something, and just hopped in this thing and made it work and did this aerial thing, whatever, and it hopped up, and there's like 20 guys just
right.
cricket strip, like, whoa, he made it.
Yeah, it
That's
was
Anthony and Marky to a T.
It was a snow ski, and he put wheels on it.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Because he broke his board, and then he just went home, and then came back with a snow ski.
Yeah, so rad.
No, man, that's cool. A lot of memories. I mean, especially dude, Greg, you were you guys were living together for how long?
We're there 4 years in the shop.
Yeah.
And I was living there at the shop for 2.5 years, and then he moved in, and it was it was pretty wild time.
And then before he moved in, I was living with Anthony.
Yeah.
For probably 4 years. I lived up on the loft, and he lived in the office.
I still remember the parties playing craps. Especially when Anthony and Blue lived down over here off of what, Citrus?
Olive,
or Lime,
or Lime,
yeah. And after Street Fair, right? Everybody's kicking everybody out of Street Fair at 10 o'clock. And everybody roll over there.
He never did anything half-assed. Hey, I'm going to have a little Halloween party.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's not going to be. There's going to be a whole facade in front of the house to make it look like some insane asylum.
Exactly. And all the walls were all lined with like the garbage bag, with like the plastic bags and all that shit. Yeah.
And then at the shop, he got 2 ceiling fans.
That was
and
me.
Mark did that. Yeah,
I did that.
Pulleys, and then took rope and then made a ghost. And the thing is just all night. This ghost flame. That was cool. Well, I thought Anthony, but it didn't surprise me.
Anyway. And it had a jacuzzi, and there was also a jacuzzi in there too.
In the shop, yeah.
Shop.
Was there?
Yeah.
And a stage.
Yeah.
And I think you played there.
Yeah, we played there. Yeah.
So I honestly feel, don't you agree that like these days is kind of, for lack of better words, for the shifters, it's kind of part 2 in many ways for us.
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
I don't know if you guys know Big Dummy, Rob Markworth,
yeah.
one of my tight bros. Yeah, we got him in the club. He should have been in the club 30 years ago, but for whatever reasons, he didn't. So we got him in the club recently. And on a side note, he's building a nostalgic, it's a 69 stretched fiberglass 69 Barracuda. He's building a Top Fuel funny car. And it's going to have the shifter's name on the back of it. And my brother, myself, and my paint and auto body instructor from high school and college are going to team up and paint in that car. We're going to paint it. And so we're individually and collectively, we're doing all kinds of projects.
Yeah.
And
He's building a 32.5 window coupe, and I'm building a 32 Roadster.
Nice.
both Pontiac powered.
Yeah. Traditional.
Yeah, mine's going to be like an early 60s style with the chrome reverse wheels and the candy blue and white wall slicks. 1962 style, I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're still chugging along.
So
Kevin talks about it, and it is true. Because we've seen and you guys were around, we've seen so many car clubs and people come and go. And it's not until somebody mentions, I go, oh my God, what happened to him or her? What happened to that car club? Come and go over the years. Kevin talks about it. He says, keeping a group of guys together for 30 years is not easy.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
But when you have this bond and respect for each other, and we've just somehow made.
I think a lot of it too is you take the cars away, and we're still, all of us are good friends, and it's just, besides the cars, there's music, there's a style, there's furniture, there's, we all have in common.
Yeah,
So
no, I mean,
and I think that had a lot to do with it, bringing us still together.
True words spoken there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think about it too, like all the guys like that aren't in your club that just been around, like Mike Parker's and all that kind of stuff that
Yes.
that's just around.
Yeah,
Everybody is it's not like super tight group of friends, but when you go to a car show, it's just like you never stop talking to somebody.
Yeah. It's a weird dynamic, and I hope I'm gonna explain this correctly, and not to imply that we were not close, because we were thick as thieves in the 90s too. But when Anthony passed away, it brought this different kind of closeness and amongst each other. Does that make sense? I mean, like, okay, we lost one brother here. Come on, guys, let's just, we got to hang out more, because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
no.
I've got people in my life, on a side note, passing away. Like, I'm exaggerating, but every time I turn around, like, oh, I got another funeral to go to.
What?
So let's live life. Let's hang out, and you know what I mean?
As and we're all getting older, right? I mean,
And people in the street rod, hot rod community is.
I got hair growing in places I have no idea.
Well, it's like you look at and that's the thing is like with the good guy shows too. You look at the demographic of that; they're getting old, man.
Okay, so we kind of, I think, touched on that earlier with good guys, but I'm glad you brought that up, because our fathers are passing away. That 32 Ford, 40 Ford generation, right? Good guys has acknowledged that. The years of the cars allowed to be in these shows, they've upped the years to like 1997 and older.
Yeah.
Where it used to be 49 and older, and then 57 and old. And now the kid with an 85 IROC, that's considered a classic car.
For sure.
Yeah.
Not in my mind, because I was in high school then.
It's 40-year-old car.
You know what it is, Alex?
But it's 40 years, and it doesn't even register until you say that. Went, holy shit, man, that's been a... So, because also, that 30-year-old kid, not to say he doesn't like these cars on your wall, these 32 Fords, he can't afford that right now.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, a C10 pickup or... an IROC Camaro gets him in and gets him involved, and maybe someday down the road he'll have a hot rod. You know what I mean?
Well, to keep these shows relevant, you have to do that. You have.
Well, over the years we noticed how people, get into it. Somewhat like a tree and a branch. You know what I mean? Like they were in the Volkswagens when they first in high school had a Volkswagen, and now they're kind of up the car and getting maybe a hot rod or something like that. Now.
True.
Well, it's like the mini truck guy that evolves into the full size truck guy, right? And then as you get later on in life, you're more financially stable. You can afford these things, and your hobby just keeps evolving. And then it's like look at 20 years ago, you could have picked up a C10 for what? For just a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
Now, good luck. Good luck trying to find a decent C10. You know?
20 grand.
Yeah, minimum, right?
Right.
And then I'm seeing, because I grew up in the era when I worked at the wheel shop. That's when the OBS body style became popular and the billet movement happened. So it's like with my business, with building all the old designs like you see behind you there, right? Now we're building them in 20s, 22s, 24s for these guys, and the OBS thing's picking up again, right?
What's cool too, on a side note, our giveaway, Good Guys giveaway car, was it last year or 2 years ago, was a 1991, did you ever see it? 1991 Chevy pickup.
Yeah.
And it had, similar to that Eddie Van Halen stripe, and it had this 85 BMX bike on there.
Yeah.
And man, if you would have told me 20 years ago that would be a giveaway, I would
no way.
never believe that in a million years. But people would die for that.
It all cycles around, because people.
It does.
People, let's say I'm 51, and it's like back in 91. That was the cool stuff. I couldn't afford that stuff, but that was what all the guys in their 30s and 40s were buying as their daily drivers, correct? Because with that body style just kind of changed things. It kind of gave everybody an entry point into having a daily driver, because that truck was built more like a car than a truck. And then, with the billet movement, the sport truck movement, it was kind of like, they were everywhere. At every dealership in town you could buy a Boyd kind of style truck.
That leads me to another question. Did a dealership or any dealerships ever, how do I say this? Did they ever work with you guys to provide us wheels for a showroom vehicle?
Build whole trucks, do a whole lower and everything for like what was it?
No, so GMC Truck Center was one of the first big ones in
Santa Fe Springs.
Santa Fe Springs. It was SEMA like 89. They gave my dad like 8 trucks to lower and customize.
Holy shit.
And that was the first movement where you could start buying these packages. And then, Traders Truck Accessories opened up in Whittier, and dealerships would take these trucks to Traders or my dad's, because we only put out so much. And then they would, the majority of them weren't fully customized, but there was a lot of bolt-on parts back then, roll pans and the billet grills and the wheels.
And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, what a better attraction to get someone, whoa, what is that? When they pull into a dealership, right?
Well, and that was
go to the showroom and
they were financed at the dealership level, right? So you could
Really?
get all this stuff, and it still goes on to this day, right? These different packages, but that everybody was doing those trucks back in the 90s.
Wow.
Richard Hibbert Chevrolet was big
Was a
out,
big one,
out in
yeah.
Claremont. And GMC Truck Center was pumping them out. Yeah, and that was a big thing.
wow.
But to circle back to the Camaro thing, that was your first car, I believe, was an '85 Camaro.
Let's not talk about that.
But it wasn't an IROC. It didn't have an IROC.
It was a V6 Gold. Was it 80? What year is it?
85 or 6.
Yeah. Hey, it was my first car.
It was a real
I'm
turd.
sure it had cool wheels on it, right?
Absolutely not.
No.
Nope.
I never customized it.
Okay.
I waited until I got my Mitsubishi Eclipse, and then I got under the whole street racing thing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's when I got.
We don't talk about that either.
I used to take you. What are you talking about?
So how did going back again? We go to 2000s, then we go to today, and then we go to early 90s. But going back to the early years, how did we get connected with you guys, or vice versa? Was it like as simple as the doll hat days, or was it?
I met Kevin, at his shop that he had to get Krypton.
Well, but see, yeah, hold on.
Well, no, what?
That's a little bit later, though, Greg.
No, that was it was in.
But see, Greg, hold on here.
Yeah.
You were playing in bands.
Yeah.
And it was all tied together. You were playing with like Dan Edwards and these guys.
Oh yeah.
Right, and Joe Tatter was part of that whole deal.
That's all of our people.
Krypton Furniture, and all, it was all
Totally
the whole.
makes sense
It's
now.
all this Fullerton Anaheim
Right.
group of people.
Well, because I met Kevin, I had my Plymouth, and I met Kevin. That's when he invited me over to your house
Okay.
for the party.
It was all, when you look at it, I don't use the word too much, but it was, if you were alternative, it all kind of pocket,
And then I remember, I got my scooter shop over there right down the street from over here in Orange. That was in 97. And I remember that's when I met Anthony, because I'm trying to remember exactly when I met Anthony. But he came by the shop with Kevin over there.
Okay.
And then
Marky soon after somehow.
You had the blue Chevy. Was it the blue Chevy pickup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
88.
Yeah.
I remember you guys driving by one day, and I was pulling a scooter around. And I just people, who the hell are these guys? And, that's Anthony and my Mark and shit. And I was like, and then it just evolved to me just going over to his shop, with you guys, and then it's all just kind of.
By the way, I have to say this, or I'm going to forget it. This has nothing to do with nothing, but every time I think of it, I could be laying in bed at midnight and just start busting out laughing. Marky told me a story a while back where you guys were painting your van at my Mark's house, my mom's house, and my brother says, you kindly backed up, came around the cul-de-sac. It's pitch dark out there in Riverside, especially where my brother lives. Yeah. He's in West Riverside. There's no street lights or nothing. And all of a sudden a door opens up, and Marky hears, shoo, get away. And Mark said, there's a cat or a dog in the van. No. Shoo, get away. He looks, and there's like a whole family of raccoons in his van.
Yeah, I pulled around the corner. I was driving. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? Oh, shit. Raccoons jumping out of the freaking van. Yeah, that's freaking, yeah. That scared the shit out of me.
Anyway.
I remember too, go back to the Doll Hut.
Yeah.
I was at the Doll Hut every other weekend, and everyone hung out there.
In the 90s,
watching bands.
In the 90s, there was a time where we didn't even need to call each other. Again, pre-internet, pre-cell phone. We were at the Doll Hut. When I say we, the Shifters, we were at the Doll Hut a minimum of 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
That's without exaggeration, man.
And you know,
we just took up after a while, people didn't park in front of there. That's kind of Shifters parking there. And then Anthony and Blue end up buying the place.
Yeah. Well, we filmed when Greg and I were in a band in the late 90s, early 2000s. We filmed a video there.
Oh, yeah. Anthony gave us keys. So, hey, go ahead. Go use it.
We spent all day filming a little music video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was in a band too, and I played there at the Doll Hut too.
Yeah.
So
that's what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an iconic spot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I met some women there a couple times.
I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Well, the funniest story you told me though was when I think you're in LA and you're playing at some bar, and you're on stage, and then you look in the audience and everybody's just going like that.
Oh, I was playing at the gay bar.
You didn't know it at the time.
I didn't know it.
But they had a screen behind you with some males
he didn't know
up there.
They were playing.
Hey, Chris, he didn't know it.
Yeah, he didn't know it. Yeah.
But we took Dice with us. Dice, and he went with us, and he was in the bathroom. This guy goes, "Oh, I want to take your picture." And Dice says, "Okay." He's like, "Take your shirt off." He's like, "Oh, I don't know." And he comes out. He goes, "These guys are gay."
Well, we might as well, full disclosure.
Hey, this was the band after we stopped playing in our band. I wasn't in this band.
Term of endearment.
There's a million stories like that.
Absolutely.
That's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a long time. I mean, it's 2025, man. This is going back 25 years ago.
Yeah.
More.
Even
I mean, yeah.
Well, you're about right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was... But I mean, it's just like, growing up in this area. I mean, it's just kind of like look at all the bands that came out of this area. I mean, we keep going back to Doll Hut, but it's like, look, Social Distortion's right up the street, right?
That's another group of guys that because of the car world, we got to know. And okay, so going back to the late 80s, early 90s, we used to have a party once every 6 months. We've got the coolest parents. My father passed, but we had the coolest parents in the world. And I tell people, or they ask me, how is your parents so cool? I met your parents. Marky and I grew up in a rock and roll household. My father was a professional bass player and he was in bands. Our grandfather was a professional musician. Our parents were avid record collectors. My parents' back garage, in alphabetical order, all in a neat fashion, they had 10,000 records. Yeah. Anything you could think of, my dad had that record. So we would have parties there, and you never knew who was going to pull in, whether it was Setzer or Mike Ness, and they just, but back then they were just, you want something to eat? Here, the beer's right there. We would have 100 people at our party, and Greg, you were at a lot of those parties.
Well, I remember being at the Doll Hut, and Kid Ramos would roll in on his motorcycle with his guitar on his back.
Yes.
He'd park the motorcycle, he'd go in, he'd play half a set with whatever band was there, and then he'd take off.
Probably James Harmon or somebody. Yeah.
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 Yeah, the good old days.
So where's it going from here?
That's a great question.
Kind of, really looking forward to kind of like restarting this whole second verse of the club.
Yeah.
And now that we're both building new hot rods, and I think that's going to like turn it from not only for me and my brother, but for the rest of the guys too, because one follows the other. Who gets it done, and then they get no one done.
And talking about Japan, Shiggy and Chico know I'm building this 32, and I'm building it really, really nice. And they've said, when it's done, let us know. Let's get the shifters back to Japan with your car. Anthony did it. Marky's done it. Let's get you, Axel, out there to Japan with. And I said, and all the guys said, if you guys are going, we're all going with you. So. We still have some coals in the fire to burn, right? So
cool,
I'm sure you're going to have a car ready in the next few years for Junior. For
Absolutely,
Marky Jr.
Yes.
How old's Marky Jr.?
He's 13.
13, yeah. He's
nice.
going to
be.
And at Halloween, he was passing out candy with a little shifters t-shirt on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just finished a 60s mini bike for him. All blue metal flake. Yeah, blue metal flake.
Yeah, he's going to be a mini
hot
bike
rod
thing
soon.
right now, man.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They got that 605 gang up in
Whittier,
up in the Whittier area. These dudes will roll down the freeway, dude.
Crazy.
100 deep down the freeway. They don't even care, dude. It's like a little gang.
How can you stop them?
Cops
and
so
flashlights.
many of them.
Yeah,
You can't.
it's like ants.
And they know it.
But it's kind of cool to see, because especially now, like with all these e-scooters and e-bikes and all this crap, to see these kids on these little mini bikes,
Yeah. We're older now. We have, obviously, when you're older, you have more priorities and things.
Absolutely.
But we still have the love and stuff. I don't talk about it. I don't make it public. I don't post anything. Actually, this is the first time publicly that I'm going to mention it. But a few years ago, I bought a dream cabin up in the San Bernardino Mountains, and I've been collecting. Greg collects and goes to estate sales too, so he gets it. But I've been collecting old cabin stuff for 20 years before I even owned a cabin, and I would just store it away in the basement of my house in tubs. But a few years ago, I bought this old cabin, and I turned it in from this 60s regular modest house until now when you walk in there, it looks like you walked into some 1940s lodge.
Oh, that's rad.
All rock, and I did custom woodworking. I learned how to work with wood and stuff. And from my front door of my house to the cabin, it's 35 minutes. And so Mark and I will look at each other. We don't even have to say anything. If it's a hot summer day or something, we just look at each other and, let's pack our shit up and let's go up there for the night and have some moonshine and, just kick back. And that's a nice breakaway. So my point is that we get into other things, but we're still diehard hot rodders. And at the end of the day, and we do other things as well. I think that's the difference between back, 30 years ago. So
getting older, just trying
to
enjoy.
You guys are more than welcome to come up and join us one of these days.
Awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the future.
Yeah, and like you said too, like I'm looking forward to the day I actually have to build my son a car, or we build it together. But
the next generation.
And then Kevin's got a kid or two kids.
Yeah.
And then Billy, he's got 2 kids, so they're not gonna be too worried about keeping the tradition going on.
Not to flip that around, but I'm going to ask you guys individually, where do you guys see, quote unquote, hot rod? Where do you see the future? Do you see this thing going?
Yeah,
keeping strong, or
I think people.
Is it stuff like Good Guys where Good Guys doing the right thing to up the years to keep the numbers and keep the.
It evolves, into that.
I get so kind of just. I'm selling all the wheels, right? So I'm just kind of following what's going on, and I did kind of help with people like me, and there's a lot of other people. I'm not taking credit for any of this, but just when I've been in the OBS truck thing for a long time, and I remember 12 years ago, picking up a few OBS trucks, going, this stuff's coming back, right? And I started building the wheels for them and building some of the older designs, and it was like slow moving and stuff, and I was like, never really got out of it. But then it's like now all of a sudden they're popular again. And it's like, it's just those things keep coming back, and who knows, some of these, as these people are passing away, and it's like maybe some of these 32s and stuff get cheaper for people to get into, because maybe so many people don't think they're cool, right? And they kind of get cast to the side, and they're not bringing the money at these auctions anymore.
Well, I'm not proud of this. I'm not happy about it. But it is what it is. Right now, actually, I told some guy, right now is the most affordable time ever in the past 30, 40 years to get into old cars of some way, because the economy, because I flew, Rob and I and the Shifters, we flew to Tulsa, Oklahoma 2 years ago, and I bought just a 32 Ford body. It's nice. And I paid 25 grand for it 2 years ago. That same body today is 14, 15 grand.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of the older generation that they're buying that. They're
well,
gone.
you look at it.
They're gone.
I mean, the LA Roadsters used to be really, really big.
Oh, they're almost nothing now.
And now that might be next year might be just the last year, I heard. But
And that show's been dying for a while, and it's like
they never had new members.
But man, I'm just telling you, like I get, because I'm involved in the wheel side. The truck thing is huge. I mean, you look at the Dino, like the way the Dino's thing evolved. He started this just enthusiast having it at his appliance shop. Started with 10, 12 trucks. Then they would go to Good Guys. So they would have their party on the Friday. Good Guys would save a spot for them on the Saturday. Then it grew to 100 trucks. And then he couldn't have it at his shop anymore. And then what happened was
over time.
Well, what happened was one year, good guys, I don't know who it was, doesn't matter. They didn't have the spot for him in Arizona because these guys are all Arizona guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just said, yeah, I just park wherever. And they were like, yeah, that's not kind of cool. And they brought 200 cars. So then Dino just said, yeah, we're going to do our own thing on the Saturday, Friday and Saturday. Now, they're going to be 8,000 trucks. Wow. Yeah, there's going to be 8,000 trucks there in 2 weeks from now at the State Farm Stadium. And it's a free show. So the vendor, there's going to be 230 vendors. I'm going to be one of them. Yeah. And they're going to be, it's open to the public. So it's Friday from like 8 to 7 or 8 to 8 or something. It's a long day Friday. And then it's like 9 to 3 on Saturday, but it's free to spectators. You can just go and you can spend all day looking at trucks.
Wow.
And it's from anything from the $1 million truck down to the $1,000 truck. And it's just
funny how things go in cycles over the years.
And it's something,
the trucks are so hot right now. If they weren't, there wouldn't be the I'm not a part of it or anything, but there's the C10 Nationals and stuff, and Middle America,
a few different shows, and the truck thing's big. I just went to the Grand National F100 show in Pigeon Forge in May, and the Ford trucks aren't as popular as the GM trucks, but it's there were still like 1,500 trucks there.
Yeah,
and it's
there's still dudes doing
it's a huge
mini truck
scene.
shows. There's still
mini trucks still a big thing. I mean the truck thing is huge. I mean when you get something at Dino's that's on par with the Street Rod Nationals in Louisville.
Yeah.
As far as quantity of cars, trucks, it's something to be recognized for sure. Yeah, and then there's the truck shows are pretty good right now.
Yeah. Yet the shifters type of car, the traditional hot rod, and that element is still holding strong today. You've got these the Race of Gentlemen.
Yep.
In
that's kind of cool.
New Jersey. And you've got these drag races that they have to be pre-registered and approved, whether it's Barona Drags or the RPM Nationals, and they're getting a good crowd. So things are healthy right now in all forms of the automotive industry.
No, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the good guys kind of holds all of that, where it's still a good show.
There's definitely,
especially like you said, they upped it to like what early or late 90s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd like to. Good guys. I think some of my favorite shows have been kind of falling off. Like Del Mar used to be my favorite show, and it's kind of small, falling down a little bit. It's like I'd like to see something revive that show. That's a great venue, But there's also two things like with like Pomona. What's going to happen with the county? What are they doing with Fairplex, right?
Yeah.
And then what's going on with Del Mar? They've talked about selling that place.
Yeah.
So it's it's hard to commit. I know from your guys' standpoint, it's probably hard to commit to something like that. And plus, these things aren't cheap to rent.
Shit, no.
I mean, I don't even know how much you guys spend to rent some of these venues out, but it's got to be
Del Mar's
ridiculous.
Got to be crazy.
I mean, I remember hearing that's why they didn't have.
And all you have to do is just inquire in any given fairgrounds type of venue in America what that venue would charge for one building for a weekend.
Oh yeah.
And then it'll kind of give you an idea what an entire
whole
facility costs.
It's got
not to mention insurance, not to mention security, just to get your foot in the door.
Just to get your foot in the door. That's not even talking about paying your employees just to run the thing, right?
I'm a show promoter and have done music festivals and stuff. And then back when we did our Shifters 30th at State Line, but you got to get multi-million-dollar insurance and you got to do all this stuff just before you get one person in the door. And that's sweat bullets before.
It's not like the first days or the first years of Viva Las Vegas where everything was free and just like a car show.
Kind of just outlaw it. Whatever happens.
Or when you take over Hart Park, where just put a bunch of cars parked in there. Yeah.
Passing out flyers with the Fonzie with the big.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man.
We appreciate this being here and telling the story.
Yeah. So tell us once again, how did they? Because it's on Amazon. The Shifters documentary.
Our documentary. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, Amazon
and
Prime.
It's called the Day the Park Tilted. That's the name of the documentary.
Oh, right on.
In reference to the first time we went to Paso Robles as a car club, we were amongst an ocean of 49 to 51 Mercs, except this little pocket had 8 primered traditional hot rods,
that
rat
pulled in
rods there.
that pulled in late because we broke down just a hell of a time just to get
Headers
there.
uncorked and stuff. And when we pulled up, and it was like unison, the car shut up, brum, 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 and the last car was Jeff with his ghetto blaster playing blaring doo-wop. Imagine that. The whole park just flooded. There was 500 people that swarmed us, and Anthony called. He goes, "Wow, shit, this is like the day the park tilted," and that just is like that phrase is tattooed in my brain. So that's the name of the documentary, and it's on Amazon Prime.
Right on.
And then you can find us on Instagram, on the Shifters SoCal.
And then what's you got one more show coming up for Good Guys?
2 more. We've got
2 more.
Next weekend is a fall get together at Pleasanton,
Okay.
and then we've got Scottsdale. grand
Scottsdale, the
finale.
final one.
Yeah.
Right
So,
on.
yeah.
And then Greg, what do you want to promote?
I'm having my van club run.
That's right. He's having his
Coming up,
van
yeah.
club run.
Yeah, is it like
When and where?
Wheels
Like-
of Confusion.
The Wheels
Nice.
of Confusion Van Club. I'm the president now. I've been named.
Are you
president.
really?
I'm the president.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congrats,
It's a big
man.
deal. El Presidente.
And,
Yeah.
Our van run is Lake Elsinore, the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Next weekend.
Next weekend, yeah.
And how many vans would you hope to see there?
I think last year we had about 102.
Nice.
So I think I'm hoping this year we at least get at least like 125.
And it's a
something like
camp out.
that. And it's a full camp out. 4-day, you can go 2-day, you go 3-day, whatever. Our show's on a Saturday. But
So
there's-
I gotta ask you, what is the craziest? Like this guy just pulled up with this 70s shag carpet. Just looks like right
Talk
out
about-
of or there's many of them.
Talk about themed.
there's a ton of them, but Ron Canberra, who has Canberra's Speed Shop up around the corner over here, he just restored. I think it was actually at the Good Guys show too. It's called Death Wish, and it was an old custom for the 70s, and he redid the whole thing all perfect, all period correct and everything. But it's chopped. It's crazy freaking van. It's gnarly.
The black one?
Yeah, it's like the two-tone. Yeah,
That
yeah.
thing's rad.
Yeah, then he also has a couple other ones like Octopus's Garden, where it's got like the big airbrush octopus on the side and shit. And there's-
Man, when I was a kid in Santa Ana in the 70s, I'm not even exaggerating. 1 out of every 10 houses had a
Oh, yeah.
customer, and it was all that, the bandit or, the Dracula guy or,
or
the Bandito.
or the
Fantastic.
the
Stabbing cabin.
yeah.
The guy with like the holding the dead princess, like carrying her across the thing with a big
Yeah.
axe
Stick
and shit.
warrior.
The
But it was-
one thing that stands out were the bubbled windows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's this chick actually just started reproducing all those. She does like the
Imagine that.
mushrooms and the freaking
Yeah.
the clovers and stuff. And talking about getting this the sport truck thing in the 80s, in the 70s dealerships they would there was like Vinnie Bergman he had Color Me Mine. They would customize all these vans.
Or the pottery place?
What's that? No, color was color me. Was it color
I don't
me?
know.
Color me something. But
Color Me Bad.
No, color me.
Color Me Bad.
It was Color Me Customs. Color Me Customs.
Wow.
And then they would do all these custom vans, and then dealerships around would just sell them right off the showroom floor because you could finance them. But you have a killer shag carpet, chandelier, round bed,
Awesome.
TV.
Everything comes around, man.
Oh yeah, and you're like
I'm starting to see, on that note, on Riverside, going down the 60 freeway just the other day, I just referred them in the 80s. We called them like cowbugs, just, magenta color VW Beetles with Porsche Owl. I'm wondering if that's coming back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they still have that big bugging show down in Irvine. and stuff
there you
like
go.
That. But yeah, I mean, all that shit. Like my van club started in '72, and at one point I think they had it was like 300 members or
Wow.
something crazy. Like in the heyday, because there'd be a van run and there would be 1,400 vans show up for this. It would be absolute chaos. But it's a lot more mellow these days. A lot of those guys, passed on or whatever. But
Wow.
people are still finding those things around.
That's cool. Anything you want to talk about, Mark? Mention? Promote?
Sometimes everything that's cool just comes back around. Sometimes,
Yeah.
and sometimes it doesn't. But
Right after the people ruin it, people ruin it.
yeah,
And then it comes back around.
Yeah.
They'll take some asshole talk shit on it, it ruins it.
But then, Mark and Sinus were talking in the garage, or it was up at the cabin the other night, and they said, that saying, everything cool gets ruined. But at the same token, those that weren't really into it to begin with, they kind of fizzle out.
Yeah.
And then you got the core people, and they kind of
sure.
continue.
Yeah,
Continue
for,
it too,
for them,
so-
it was just a fad or trend that
Yeah.
they wanted to be a part of,
Right.
right?
I think of all the people that used to hang around, for a minute, and they just kind of
Yeah.
go away. But
Seems like it's always at the Grand National Roadshow. I get 1 or 2 guys, of course, the weekend. Man, just watching you guys do red jackets and everything, and you guys are still into it, man. It's been a minute, and you stop and think, yeah, I guess we have been around a while.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Well, right on, guys. Well, thanks. This was fun.
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Thank you.
Well, cool.
Right on.
We're gonna wrap it up.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to come talk with us.
Yeah,
And we'll be seeing you at Good Guy shows.
definitely.
And then
Or will you be at Scottsdale with you?
I won't be. I'm
Okay.
gonna go to Dino's.
Okay, cool.
And then I won't be able to make it back the following weekend.
Cool.
So, but all right.
Thanks, guys.
That's a
Thank
wrap.
you.